have our milk carton here.
It's not there. It's just not. This contact meta model is probably not completely correct. Thinking all these together, it poses a real problem for our understanding of cosmology. We have had to sort of invoke some tooth fairies to keep things sensible. One of those is dark matter.
Well, you know, they're at the point now where they've just about realized that it ain't there. It's over. They're never going to find it. And they're actually starting to slowly change their paradigm to thinking that, well, maybe what we're seeing out there in the cosmos is electric, right? Because electricity, you know, has a hell of a lot more power than the alleged gravitational thing, which, like I said, we know does not exist. Gravity in and of itself does not exist unless you want to call it weight. In which case, yeah, weight exists. There's no doubt about that. But when they start putting it in cartoons and putting in the context of, well, you know, it's dragging the Earth around the sun and the sun around the solar system, all that is nonsense. It's complete, you know, horse hockey and a complete fabrication. And that's why they completely, you know, made up gravity without ever even defining what the hell it is. You know, they have this downward acceleration that they have observed the characteristics of, but have never properly defined what it actually is. Well, and then, you know, they tried to apply that gravitational pull to, you know, what's going on out in the cosmos. And unfortunately, they have never been able to reconcile anything out there. And, you know, that's kind of a big deal because supposedly they've got all of these satellites and spacecraft and space stations. And all of this is dependent on a very innate understanding of gravity and how it works and where it's coming from. And they have never, ever been able to prove it. And they've never been able to prove any of the sources. So, as you guys know,
and in fact, all the calculations and the equations and the math behind any space travel in the so-called near Earth orbit is based on Newton principles, not even Einstein principles. So what they are sending, what they are doing. In fact, one of the biggest problem for me, or at least why the people don't understand that it's impossible to reach the escape velocity, 27,000 kilometers per hour. We don't have any things to reach that, especially the big rockets. So what they are doing.
Yeah. Which by the way, it just happens to be Mach 33, guys. You know, it's like, give me a break.
Yeah. Let's celebrate the Yoyola birthday.
Yep. They stick that 33 in everywhere. It was also in, they had quite a few instances of 33 that showed up in the new Top Gun movie as well, guys. So it's like, I wish I knew what exactly they were trying to say other than, you know, holding that 33 in front of our face and saying, yeah, this means something, and we're communicating behind your back and you have no idea what we're talking about. But, you know, it's literally everywhere and it's insane. But anyway, so what I want to do is I want to play a little bit of this video for you. This is from Suspicious Observers, and I used to follow him religiously until I became a flat earther. And unfortunately, he hates flat earthers. He doesn't believe in any of it. Which is great, whatever, I don't care. But he has done a lot of really good work with the Thunderbolts project and, you know, interpreting the data that we get coming back off these so-called satellites, which are really balloons, that are looking at something up there. They're looking, you know, they may be the lights in the sky, but those lights in the skies are actually putting off energetic signatures, and they are analyzing them. But what they're not finding is anything that they can even remotely call you know, dark matter or anything like that. And now there is a conundrum, because without dark matter, one of the biggest things and one of the first things to fall is going to be none other than Einstein's theory of special relativity. And now they're going to have to consider a whole new paradigm. So here we go. Let's take a listen.
We have our milk carton here.
It's not there. It's just not. This closed-up meta model is probably not completely correct. Taking all these together, it poses a real problem for our understanding of cosmology. We have had to sort of invoke some tooth fairies to keep things sensible. One of those is dark matter. Supersymmetry is my favorite example. It was a beautiful idea, very compelling, was basically accepted widely in the 80s. All the predictions that supersymmetry made have failed badly. And the most popular form of dark matter, the WIMP, is a supersymmetric particle. So you only have WIMPs if you have supersymmetry. And so now we've gotten to this weird point where most people seem to have forgotten that you need supersymmetry to even have WIMPs. Now we have WIMPs because we know we need to have this dark matter, but the supersymmetry that is required to make those things exist doesn't work. And it's failed in lots of ways. When things go wrong, you have to bear in mind that maybe we got something wrong along the way, or missed something that is important.
Sophia. They did spend a lot of money on Sophia. It was supposed to help solidify this force of gravity model for the formation of stars and star clusters. They found out that not only are magnetic fields and turbulence, and when you see turbulence in this realm, they're talking about plasma turbulence, plasma interacting with itself and interacting with electric and magnetic fields, not what many of you might have experienced on the flight here into the rain and clouds yesterday. But so magnetic fields and plasma turbulence are not only involved, they may dominate the creation process of these stars and star clusters. The missing mass of the universe is tracing the cosmic filaments. Now, this is where mainstream scientists say, okay, but that was just the normal matter we knew was missing. We still have all this other stuff we need to look for. The problem is, finding all of the missing matter scattered about is very different than finding it in a current. And we know that these cosmic filaments feed material down onto galaxies. So when you have all this material and it's not spread out, it's actually in the cosmic filaments. It's traveling the same direction, feeding galaxies. It is a current. There are magnetic fields wrapped around it. They see protons, they see electrons in these things. And so matter is no longer just matter when it's in a current.
That's absolutely right. And one thing that you need to know about this is whether or not, he's right and they can actually detect these currents out there or not. There is a strong base case for it because all of these phenomenon are replicatable in a laboratory, right? In a plasma lab, plasma physics lab. And right there, you're up close and personal with what's going on with these plasma phenomenons, right? And, it's been realized that most of the phenomenon in our solar system, certainly the sun, is a plasma type of phenomenon. And, that's a long way from, being a burning ball of hydrogen or a constant thermonuclear reaction, right? And of course, you guys remember that one scientist, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, that came out and said, no, moon is actually a plasma. You're never going to set foot on it. And of course, that got buried completely. And they just write all these people off to being, well, they don't write them off as being quacks. They just, try and bury it. Again, that's NASA's strongest weapon, is to ignore it. And they just keep pushing their agenda. But now it is so overwhelming at this point, between all the analysis that has been done on this, the Sophia that they had so much hope for, the cosmic microwave background tests, right? What happened with that? Well, it came back that everything was surrounding the Earth and emanating and expanding from the Earth. And they just, every time they turn around, they get bit, right? And it's just absolutely amazing. So I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but, I said a long time ago that this is getting to a point where they're getting so far backed into a corner that something major has got to break loose.
Astronauts to the moon.